maybe 5. Hello, Cristina. How are you?
Hi! So excited. I'm doing fabulous.
I love being in this space right now. And this is so cool because we've only done one other podcast interview in person with somebody. So you are the second one that we've done this with. So I love that. It's so exciting. Tell us just for 2 minutes about this space that we're in.
Yes, well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you made it out. And it absolutely does make a difference to be in this space.
Yeah.
So we are sitting in Studio Bold. It is my latest baby. And it is a content creation, self-branding studio.
Very cool.
For women and creators that are professionals and that are branding themselves boldly.
Wow, that's a lot. Now, and you have a lot of babies, right? You have
too many babies.
Which I want to get into all of them, but Studio Bold is one. You have your clothing line.
Yep,
which is
Mujer X.
Mujer
It is
X.
a size inclusive statement and staples merchandise line.
Wow.
We carry sizes small to 4X.
Okay.
And just cool, comfortable pieces that make you feel confident.
Are they pieces for like every part of your life, work,
Yes.
play? Yeah.
Like 360 is what we like to call it.
Okay.
A lot of comfort items, staple graphic tees and pullovers.
Yeah.
Quality blazers that have details that speak to your soul kind of vibes.
There's a lot of words here that I like. I like speaking to your soul. I like bold. This is a bold space we're in. You know, for folks who will maybe see the video, bold colors, bold art. All this stuff is really great. It's really great.
We wanted to create a space that was bold and fun, but also very curated to feel safe and embracive.
I like that.
And also still creative, right? Like something cool about the space that is kind of different from like these selfie museums popping up everywhere.
Sure.
Is that you can come in and say, I have a birthday shoot I want to execute in a month, and I have a very specific theme in mind.
Right.
We can take that theme and curate your own space here with your own props
To that theme.
That theme.
Yeah, and we talked about this before we went on air. This is a big space. You've got a lot of square footage here. This is really cool.
And what's super cool also, and it was intentional, is that 90% of the walls here, they're all mobile.
So you can just reconfigure, and that's cool. That's
so you can have a smaller space. You can have a space that's a specific kind of shape, or you can just bring all of them down and have just an open space to create your thing.
So I want to back up for a minute. So I first became aware of you with Fuschia.
Yes.
Right, which is another venture of yours.
The originator.
You had gone through some local accelerator programs. Right. Yeah. So how did that start? Was that just because again, one of the things we love to talk about is sometimes it feels like you just wake up one morning and you're like, I got to do this, and you do it, right? Was it a long journey for you to get to that point, Cristina?
Yes and no. No, because I've always done this. I've always just been a creative being. I mean, since I was a child, I was just more drawn to drawing pictures than like ballet. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so you were an artist.
So at a very young age, I was customizing my clothing and like sketching dresses on my mom's
I see like a lot of fabric paint.
So I knew that I wanted to go into the creative arts, specifically fashion. That's my background. So I went to the Greater Lawrence Vocational School for high school, and I studied fashion. I learned how to sew officially and did that, and then
the technical side.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And then I went to college in New York City for fashion. And I thought, because all I knew was the fashion design piece of fashion. I thought that I had to make clothing in order to be in that world.
In the world of fashion, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when I got to New York, I actually ended up almost flunking out because I was so bored. I'm like, if you know how to make a skirt, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I don't need to make it 50 different ways.
So then I was exposed to so many corners of the industry. Merchandising, styling, marketing, all the above. So I was in the fashion design program for about a year and a half. And then I was like, I gotta make a change because this is not working. This is
not working for me.
So I enrolled into the fashion marketing and merchandising program.
Gotcha.
And there I felt home.
Then you realized this is where I belonged. Yeah.
And I went into personal styling, wardrobe styling, editorial, magazine, and that was my sweet spot.
That's cool.
I was at the beginning of the blogosphere space, you know, and social media.
Right, it was all like burgeoning at that time.
It was just happening. It was just happening. So I started a fashion blog called the Fuschia Files.
The Fuschia Files.
And the whole purpose of it was to kind of share my narrative and my perspective on like the trends of the moment, styling your own image, yada yada. So I had this blog and I was like moving around this city with it, going to events.
Yeah, and you're still in New York at this point, right?
Yes, still in New York. And then I actually started to take on like big styling work, like for styling shoots for magazines, and for.
So they were hiring you as a stylist to come in.
Exactly.
Okay. Yep.
And then I grew another layer of that where I started to organize closets. So then that was like my taste into like wardrobe building.
Yeah. I want to hold on that for a second. So, because people talk about closet is part of what you do, not just organizing someone's closet, but then to your point, you're also building their wardrobe in that process.
It's an entire experience. Like it's wardrobe building from personal styling, like building your personal image.
Interesting.
Based off of your lifestyle and your demands and your preferences and all the above.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And I loved to be able to go into someone's home and like design that whole space to cater to them completely. Like how they get dressed, if it's from shoes to top or you know.
All that stuff.
Yeah, cool.
So fast forward a little bit with me. So when did you get into the accelerator program here? Back here. So you came back to Massachusetts?
Yes. So after I was in it, I had this blog. I'm actually making money off of these services. Nice. I'm creating content. Yeah. I'm on Instagram now.
Right.
And then my rent was raised in my New York apartment. And,
shocking.
Yeah. And I was going for so at the time I had a job as an assistant in a trend forecasting agency. Ooh. And my dream job in that space was to become a trend
forecaster,
trend forecasting editor,
like a futurist of trends.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool.
So I was in the assistant space for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, and I'm impatient. So I'm like, if I'm here for more than 2 years, like this is it.
That's the hallmark of entrepreneurs is impatience.
Impatience. So I was almost at my 2-year mark. My rent was just raised, and then the company had announced that they were merging with our competitors.
Oh, wow.
So at the time, a lot of folks got cut.
All of a sudden,
including the entire...
all this swirl and churn.
Yeah. It was insanity. Yeah. But it also meant that the editor's team was completely cleaned out.
Okay.
So they were interviewing for this position.
And you were like...
Oh, this is mine.
This is me.
This is mine.
Yeah. Done deal.
Long story short, I went through 2 interviews. I didn't get the job. I said, screw this. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
I pulled the plug.
Yeah.
I said, I'm moving back to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I'm I'm gonna start this thing. At the time I was 23.
What year was this?
It was like 2014.
14. Okay, 2014. Okay.
And I came home.
Okay.
And
Back
I was
to
like, I'm gonna
Yep.
do this full throttle.
Yep.
I'm gonna
On
start
my
this
terms.
business.
Yep.
If I'm gonna struggle, I'm gonna struggle for myself. It was obviously a very different than what I envisioned.
It never is, right? It never goes the way you think it's
and then
go.
I was put onto E for All.
Okay.
And man, I will never forget the day I had my interview. First of all, I can't imagine the faces of the folks that were screening my application.
I think you and I might have met when they do those speed dating sessions where as mentors / entrepreneurs and they ring the bell and you have like 2 minutes. I think you and I might have met then.
That would be awesome.
I think so. I'd have to like really think about it, but I know there was a familiarity with Fuschia.
Yes.
And
you can't forget
Can't forget people. Look, you're wearing Fuschia now.
So on
Clearly
brand.
it's a signature color for you, right? It means something to you. So I think we might have met back around that.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of crazy. It's like 8 years ago.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I applied, I got the interview, and at the interview I was honest.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm 23 years old.
Yeah.
I don't have any business background. I don't even know anybody that started their own business, but I have this passion. I've always done this.
Nice.
I work hard.
Yep.
I am willing to learn. And I was like 30 minutes late.
Right. Also on brand for an entrepreneur.
Yes. So they all were like, okay, honey.
Yeah. First things first. Get a watch.
At the time, the executive director was this marvelous person.
Yeah.
Her name is Frankie Dakota.
Yeah, Frankie. Yep. Frankie is awesome.
Yep. And Frankie stepped out after I had the interview, and I was like, I tanked this.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, no, you didn't.
There's no way.
Yeah. I'm done.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And she came out afterwards and was like, I'm gonna be 1,000% with you.
Oh.
They all said no, but I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you on myself.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
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 That's so cool.
It's crazy we're even talking about this.
Yeah.
I was actually just on the phone with Frankie. So
Wow.
Frankie is now my sweet
Oh, okay.
mate.
Oh, that's cool.
We're partners in this.
Yeah, because I know she had moved on from you for all and was doing other things. Oh wow, God.
So she became my mentor. I know.
What a cool
crazy
circle.
full circle.
That's such a cool full circle.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
we worked together. I went to the program. I think I ended up being like the valedictorian of the program.
Shocking.
Or
That
the
shocks
group
me.
speaker or something.
Yeah, this shocks me. No, not at all. Not at all. Oh my
And
God.
at the end of the program, I believe it was the second place award check, and I used the entire thing to do a launch party.
Very cool.
Yeah. My lessons.
Well, look, that's youth, right? That's what that is.
It was a really cool party.
Yeah, I bet it was awesome.
Was a really
was
cool
off the hook.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we kind of went through our first 3 years. So I was doing personal styling, wardrobe development, content creation, for individual clients, the CEOs, personalities, you name it. And then a lot of these clients were just getting on social media.
Right.
And they were like, you're young.
Right.
And like, Poppy, do you know how to do this?
Poppy?
Yeah, like vibrant. And they would come to me and they're like,
can you do this, please?
Can you do this?
Can you social media, please?
Can you like do what you kids are doing for me?
Can you TikTok, please?
Essentially.
This is probably pre-TikTok.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh.
Yeah. Way pre-TikTok.
Way
right?
pre-TikTok.
Yeah.
And then I then like organically segued into this like marketing content creation space.
Very cool.
Where now I was like creating tangible content for my clients and their companies and their businesses. And then one day I was like, I think I should offer this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like pretty good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, this should be like something I do.
So then, but at the time, we're still the Fuschia Files.
Okay.
And we're a fashion company.
I was going to say, the Fuschia Files is still a fashion sort of blog, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But,
so you're like, I got to pivot here.
Yeah, but it took a while.
Okay.
Like, and honest to God, it wasn't even until like last year that I started to even outwardly market these services, because I was like, it's cloudy waters, you know, and like, I'm known for this. Yeah. I've always done this.
Right.
And then I'm also gonna, you know, say, hey, and I can run your social media.
So let's talk about that for a second. So how did you kind of get the courage and the conviction, I guess, Cristina? Was it that you just needed to prove to yourself? You needed to hear others tell you? Where did you draw that sort of strength from?
You know, I think, and now, you know, with age and
wisdom, age comes wisdom. Yes.
I think when you're meant to do something, you can suppress it, and you can put it in the back of the bus, and you can just, you know, whatever, as long as you can. Mm-hmm. But there's always gonna be this like burning thing in your stomach, like this like awakening. There was times my husband, we met in the very early days of my like wanting to have this business. Okay. And it was literally years, Richard. It was years of my just like kind of doing this on the side.
Half in, or maybe a quarter in.
And he was the opposite person. Like he always had a job,
steady job.
He was in human services, social work. Black and white person. Genius mind. But like very much analytical.
And social services, human service. So he's doing something very worthwhile.
Humanitarian, intentional. And he would tell me all the time, babe, like, this is the thing.
Yeah, go do this thing.
People don't even know that you do it, and they look for you to do this thing. Yeah. You don't talk about it. Yeah. You don't sell it. Yeah. But it's like your clients telling other clients and other people.
So there was this organic
people.
Sort of word of mouth thing.
It was so organic. Yeah. And I was always like, no, I'm a fashion person. Right. I meant to style outfits for a living. Forever.
Ever. And organize closets. And
what really happened is that the income kind of tapped out. Yeah. So I was spending so much more time and energy on the fashion services. Yeah. And the 20% that I was dedicating to the marketing services was making like 80% of my income.
Right. So you
and him tipping point. Being the analytical person he was, like after so many times, he's like, babe, this is where you're making your money though. Yeah. And you're so good at it.
Right. This is the kid who doesn't study on the test but still gets a B+, right?
Jesus Christ. Yeah. And I was 7 months pregnant. Wow. I had 2 jobs. I was in E4all.
Okay. Yep. So that's pretty much a full-time job.
Toxic. Yep. Like not okay. Yep. And no, I'm sorry. It was post E4all. Okay. I was 7 months pregnant. Okay. I had a full-time job and a part-time job, and I was running the business. Wow. And I was burnt.
Yeah, of course.
I was 7 months pregnant. Yeah. I was 27 at the time. Uh-huh. And I got home one day and I just collapsed. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do this anymore.
That was your moment. Yeah.
Because I was like in this like fashion space and I was building my platform still. Yeah. I was still creating fashion content every week. Right. So I was doing shoots for myself all the time. Sure. Like once, twice a week. Right. I was seeing clients. I was going to work. Right. And I just got home that day and was like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do this.
Something has to give here.
And honestly, like, I don't want to. Right. I don't want to.
Well, that's the most important, right? You had that realization.
Yeah. And we had a very adult conversation. And I was like, I know I'm supposed to, I still had like a month left before my maternity leave.
Okay, so you're like, I know I should work to the end of my maternity leave.
Yeah, but
or not the end, the start.
Yeah,
of my maternity leave.
and literally that day I was like, I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm not. I'm putting in my official resignation.
Right.
At the time, I was a visual merchandising lead for Target.
Wow.
Which was a super cool job.
Yeah, big company.
But extremely tiring, like.
Yeah, but safe and secure and big and yeah.
You know, and I was like, I can do this kind of thing, and I can have my business, and I can have health insurance.
Right, exactly. I can have it all.
And I get a Target discount. Oh my God.
Stock options, all that
good
stuff.
God,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And again, he was the one that had the solid job happening and all the benefits, and he told me, he's like, just stop.
Right.
Leave it.
Yep.
Don't go back.
Yep.
Focus.
That's amazing that you had the benefit of someone in your corner.
Yep.
Like your husband was, right?
Yep.
As a woman, how did you said like, I felt like I'm 7 months pregnant. I should finish, until I start my maternity. It's the right thing to do. So many women I know that have been on this show, they have that sort of struggle point with like, oh, as a woman I should do this.
I feel like we all have had so many versions of that decision.
Right.
That like dire, like life or death.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I have to make this big choice right now.
Yeah. Wow. So you make the choice. You say, I'm out. You tell Target. I'm sure they're not happy, but there you go. Now you're about to have a baby. But what better time to launch a business?
I looked in the mirror and I was like, it is now or never. I had been doing the Fuschia files like 75% for like a good 2 years. And I was making the money that I was seeing from my job. So I was like, it's now or never. It's now or never, because it's not gonna get easier.
No.
When I have a little human here who needs me more than all of this
24 hours a day. Right. Yep.
It's not gonna be then.
Right.
That I'm like, okay, let me focus. No. I had those like last 3 months to really buckle down, create projections, create a solid business plan, schmooze my relationships, like.
And you had learned how to do some of that, right? Through your training in fashion school, through the accelerator program. It was a journey. Yeah, it was a long journey. Wow. So I saw you on social media the other day. You were attending a conference for women leadership.
Yep.
And you're like crying in your car because you're so moved by the things that you were seeing and learning. And tell me a little bit about that experience, Cristina.
So I am 8 months into widowhood.
Okay.
And my husband, like we're talking about, he was such a pivotal part into my
into your success and getting to
and kind of like this like unapologetic space that I feel like I've been leading up to.
Right.
And going back like to this burning fire like in your being when you're meant to do something. I've always had it, right? But like life and circumstances,
everything gets in the way.
I am the middle child of 4.
Okay.
I am my parents' only daughter.
Wow. So there's we could do a whole podcast on being the only daughter. Yeah.
My parents don't have an education past the 8th grade.
Right.
They both came here in their very early 20s.
Okay.
And they've given me a life that they didn't know how to make.
Right. But they did it, right? They came here to better your.
I had such a beautiful childhood, such a beautiful upbringing.
That's lovely.
I have this divine like hustle-minded foundation.
From them, I'm assuming.
From them.
Yeah.
And I meet this boy, and he's like, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I see you. I get it.
Yeah.
And we were able for 8 years to create like this life.
Yeah, this beautiful.
And still throughout all of it, he used to always tell me, look, I'm just the worker.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the insurance, babe.
Yeah.
You're the star.
You're the star.
You're the one that has to wake up. And if you have to meditate, if you have to cry,
just do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Because one day you're gonna be the one. You are gonna be the one. And we lost him unfortunately in June.
Yeah.
And
I'm so sorry.
Thank
Cristina.
you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And since the moment that I realized like I am no longer gonna have that little
voice
in my ear physically.
Yeah.
I've just found this like overwhelming amount of appreciation and gratitude and intention.
You're so grounded. Yeah.
Intention. Like every day I have to not only evaluate my environment and those around me and who I connect with and who I can connect with and who they touch, but like, you know.
Yeah.
So I have tried so hard to fill my time and my space and my energy and my weekends and my evenings with these moments. Yeah. So I went to this beautiful event on Saturday for an amazing organization called Empowered Confidence, and the owner, the founder, the CEO, she's a gal that I've just aligned with along the path.
You've connected,
somehow in the universe. And she had this confidence summit, and when I saw she was organizing this, I started a group chat with all my girlfriends.
Right. So
that
look,
also
we gotta
have
figure out. Yeah.
My friends and my clients, who now a lot of them are like family, and I was like, we all have to go to this, and we all have to go to this together, and not only for the content and like to enjoy it, but so that there's another moment, another day, another experience collectively that we are showing up together, and that we're showing up for our businesses and our thing.
Right. Yeah.
And it was my days are just overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing because it feels like every day you're at 100 to 110 to 120%.
I try.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
So, and I'm watching you sitting in your car and crying, and you talk about this wonderful experience you just had, and I'm like, this woman is going 100.
Yep. And I cry a lot.
Yeah.
I'm engulfed in emotion, literally like all the time now. But I've also found like the beauty in being so raw and so genuine and so vulnerable. And literally I'm always on the edge of tears these days. So the moment I got into my car, I was like,
Jeez, what's happening to me?
Beautiful. Oh my God. And my new content strategy, if you will.
Yeah, sure. I want to hear it.
I've always had like a structure in this thing, like as fluid and as creative as I am. I've always had like this, like, you know, I have to do it like this.
Yeah.
And I have to like talk about this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in grief, that is not how it works.
Not an option. Yeah, that is not an option.
You kind of just have to roll with the punches and see where you're at and see where you're standing. Yeah. And I've had this overwhelming desire to get in front of the camera. Yeah. To not just talk about like styling a sweater and a cute skirt
or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
But like talk about the real ish that I feel and that I witness and that I experience working with so many amazing, literally powerhouse women.
I love it.
So I'm trying my hardest to get in front of the camera more, to talk about all these experiences and just allowing them to kind of take the stage and the lead as to what happens next. So this new content plan is that I'm like, if I look like crap, if I'm tired, if I've been crying for hours at said event, I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real about it.
I'm gonna share it. Yeah. There's someone out there
that'll appreciate
that needs
this.
to get this message.
Right, needs it. Will appreciate it. Wow, what a self-sacrificing. Seriously, you know, I mean, it's truly, because you're. I know in some ways it must be cathartic for you.
Yes.
But you're also really sacrificing yourself in that moment by saying, like, I'm going to be really vulnerable and really emotional right now because I know someone else needs to hear this.
Yeah.
And we'll draw inspiration from this, or we'll draw courage from this. Yeah.
For me, it's definitely the courage.
Yeah.
Because again, a post-loss, like in grief, you don't feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
You every day is kind of like an exploration of what sticks. A lot of times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I feel like this, I can't imagine, you know, other women that like constantly go through all the, like, as women, we're just constantly going through things.
Right.
And it's so easy to just keep going and to internalize, even when we feel debilitated. Right. And I'm like, because
society puts that pressure on you that even when you feel debilitated, you still have to do these things.
Oh my God. As much grace and as much like overwhelming support I've gotten in my own process, like there still have been moments that like society, like the world is expecting me to show up today. Right. And I'm like, this can't be.
I need today off.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't have it today. I don't have it. You know, and if it's our kids, if it's our partners,
Parents.
if it's our jobs, whatever, you know, like we're just called to the table. Right. Black and white, like no matter what. And
you got to show up.
Yeah. And I'm like, if I have the energy to even be standing here right now, I know there is a body and a being somewhere who is gonna think about my process and the soup of life I'm living right now. Yeah. And be like, if she can do it, I can do it.
Right. I can look at her story.
To like any level. Yeah. To any capacity. If she can do it today, I can go out there and try.
I love it. Talk to me, what's next?
So a lot of things, right?
Gonna start with 3 more brands.
So actually, I've started to simplify.
Okay.
I have a team now. I have a space. I've scaled back a ton because now I'm a full-time single mother. Right. I don't have the time.
Right. Which is a full-time job.
I don't have the time or like the bandwidth to literally tend to 3 companies. Right. Moonhead X, Studio Bold,
and Fuschia Files.
Well, now the Fuschia Agency.
The Fuschia Agency.
I actually figured it out. Okay. I was like, we're not a blog anymore. We're definitely an agency because we offer all this that like now this like suite of products and services. Yeah. Whatever.
Well, that's cool that you kind of figured out what your portfolio was. To your point, right?
Yeah. So I've actually scaled back personally a lot. But what's next is that I'm really putting a lot of my energy and a lot of financial investment into learning how to scale this thing. Nice. So learning how to create digital products, learning how to better monetize and structure a space like this. Nice. Learning better ways to streamline this whole e-commerce thing. Right.
Build the fabric for all of that.
Yeah. So I've invested in a business coach. Again, I have a whole team now. I have a couple assistants. I have a project manager, operations manager.
People are relying on you for
So
for their livelihood, which in and of itself becomes very scary.
Yes. But it's also been my biggest lesson and learning curve because it's taught me organically and kind of aggressively that you can't do this by yourself. Right. There's no way.
Takes a team.
And especially after losing my husband, I have no desire to be here with my child running around until midnight,
right,
because we have clients.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's the space for someone else to
Right.
come in and thrive. It
Right.
is not mine.
Not your
anymore.
space. Yeah, but you bring so many other things to the space,
Mhm.
right? You bring your experience, your
Exactly.
expertise, your
Exactly.
leadership skills, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So next steps is
The balance. Yeah.
the balance
Yeah.
and learning my version of working smarter, not harder.
That's cool.
I'm going to Bali in 2 weeks.
That's it. Full stop. Bali. Why are we going to Bali?
I'm going to Bali for 8 days for a CEO retreat.
Oh my God.
Where for the entire week I will be self-caring,
Okay.
but I will also be in intensive strategy sessions with my coach and 10 other women
Phenomenal.
that have
I can't wait to see
other
how this
cool
goes.
businesses
Yeah.
that they're trying to blow up the water. So there's a lot of strategy building, a lot of brainstorming sessions. We're gonna be doing some content.
I think you're gonna make friends for life at this.
Oh my God. And that's the thing about being vulnerable
Right.
and unapologetic and standing on your ground even when it's super uncomfortable and
Right.
uncertain. You can't fake it.
Right.
So whoever you come across, whoever you meet, the relationships that you maintain in that space, they become forever things. Like like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the clients that I'm still working with, because during grief, again, I'm like, I was fine working 80 hours a week. When I went down to 20 hours and even like 10 on some weeks, I lost a lot of professional relationships because what is happening to me is happening to me. They still have to run their business, right? So I became unaligned with a lot of clients, but those clients have now become pillars into this new stage of business that like we are rock solid for life at this point.
Nice.
The friendships that are still here and are still understanding of this unorthodox space I'm in, rock solid, like rooted for life. And like these new people that are now coming in and are like, we see your light, we see your thing, and I want to be a part of it or bring value to it, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So
I think we're going to leave it at that. Thank you, Cristina. Thank you for your vulnerability, for your light, for your inspiration, and best of luck. We're going to be watching. We're going to be watching Studio Bold.
Yes,
Fuschia
stay
Agency.
tuned for an
Stay tuned.
entire new experience of business life, soul coaching to bring out your most unapologetic self.
I love it. We're gonna see it. We're gonna love it. We're gonna see it, and I can't wait. So thanks again, Cristina. Oh wow, that was great. Oh, you're so good. You're so natural. Thank you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it.
That was awesome.
I love it.
Great questions, by the way.
Thank you. Well,
So,
look,
like,
I knew that when I got in here with you, all I would have to do is point you in a direction, and you were gonna
so
go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And in a lot of these things, they always ask you the same thing, and you're always like, "Yeah, I'm Cristina. I do this."
Yeah. Now I try to have it be a little bit more about you as a person, and some of those kinds of things. And thank you for being so open and talking about your tragedy and your loss. I didn't expect you to go there, but thank you. It sounds like
it's important.
It's important. Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
It's important. I can't imagine not saying like, "Hey, I'm so awesome and I'm doing all these things, but I'm also here because of this."
Right. Oh my God.
Because it is what it is.
It is what it is. Oh my God.
That was great.